You know how we always hear about science as this epic quest to find the hidden rules of the universe? It sounds super exciting, right? But what if that's just completely the wrong way to think about it? Today, we're diving into a perspective that really challenges the words we use to describe the cosmos itself. I mean, you've totally seen a headline like this before, probably on YouTube or some article online. It's super dramatic, it pulls you in, it makes it sound like the universe is run by some secret code that we're just about to crack. It paints this picture of scientists as these cosmic detectives, finding the laws laid down by, well, by what exactly? That's kind of the question. And that, right there, is the big, powerful question at the heart of this explainer. What if this entire way of talking about it, all this language of rules and control and laws, is just a huge misunderstanding of how the universe actually works? Let's dig into that challenge. So, this perspective we're looking at doesn't just kind of disagree with the phrasing. No, it rejects it completely. The author feels like this isn't just some tiny mistake in how we word things. They see it as a deep, fundamental error in our thinking that we really need to fix. And, well, they don't hold back. Yeah, it really doesn't get more direct than that. For the author we're looking at, calling the basic principles of the universe rules isn't just a little bit inaccurate, it's straight up nonsense. And that really sets the stage for a totally different way of looking at reality. And here's the core of it, the main claim. The universe doesn't follow any rules at all. It isn't obeying some script or a list of commands. According to this viewpoint, it just operates. It does what it does because of its own built-in nature, its own properties. Okay, so this brings us to the absolute heart of the entire argument. It all boils down to the huge difference between two words that we, let's be honest, probably use interchangeably all the time: rules and properties. So, what's a rule? Well, in this context, a rule is something we humans invented. It's a system we build to try and make sense of everything. We draw lines, we make up categories, we write down our equations. But this perspective says, look, those are just our interpretations, and because of that, they're always going to be limited and, yeah, probably flawed. But properties? Now this is what's being presented as the real deal. A property isn't some command the universe has to follow. It's what the universe is. Think about it. An electron has the property of a negative charge. A star has the property of having a ton of mass. These aren't rules they're following, it's just their fundamental nature. So here's the side-by-side comparison, and it makes it so clear. On one side, you've got rules, or man-made maps of reality, and on the other, you have properties, the actual territory itself. The whole argument is that we keep mistaking our maps for the real thing. And this whole distinction, it takes us somewhere even deeper. This isn't just about physics anymore. It's about how the very language we choose to use actually shapes how we see existence. And it might be tricking us into seeing divisions that aren't even there. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It's such a simple statement, but it's incredibly profound. Reality itself is not divided. It's suggesting the universe is just one big, seamless whole. All our different categories, physics, chemistry, biology, heck, even space and time, they're just helpful tools we use to understand things, not actual cracks in the fabric of reality. So what this means is that our scientific rules really come from us deciding where to draw the lines. We're the ones who decide to isolate one little system, measure a few things, and ignore everything else. And yeah, the formulas we create are incredibly powerful, but they're describing that tiny little sliver of reality we've chosen to stare at, not some grand law that's governing the whole shebang. And wow, the author really lands a sharp critique here. They're basically arguing that using this whole rules metaphor in popular science isn't just wrong, it's actually taking advantage of our curiosity to get clicks and views. And all the while, it's reinforcing a flawed way of seeing the cosmos. That's a pretty powerful accusation. So, okay, where does all this leave us? What does this massive shift in perspective really mean for you and me? It kind of forces us to think, and think carefully, about the words and the metaphors we use to talk about these huge, complex ideas. So look, if you take one thing away from all this, let it be this. The universe doesn't obey commands, it simply is. Its behavior just flows naturally from its own built-in properties. We don't discover rules, we model properties. It's a really subtle difference, but it's a huge shift in how you see everything. And that leaves us with this big, final thought to chew on. If the rules of the universe is a broken story, then what's a better one? Is it a story about inherent properties, or this seamless, undivided reality, or maybe something else entirely. The words we choose really, really matter, and maybe it's time we started telling a new story.